Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, and today we're here for another video to talk about Cosmic Crucible. Now, this is not a gameplay video here of me doing Cosmic Crucible. This is me just talking about Cosmic Crucible. So, you guys probably know that things were made and adjusted last week during the patch time when that was down. So, Trial 3, I guess, of last week, and now we're into Trial 2 of this week. And I kind of want to go over some of the unhappiness that's going around the community, for lack of better words. There's been, for example, I've seen a handful of really upticked Cosmic Crucible posts on Reddit that I want to go over, but also why things are changed and why people are a little bit unhappy, and what this means about Cosmic Crucible going forward, and how people are feeling about the game mode. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. And just to get things started, so I won my first trial, but I didn't know that until afterwards, and they didn't do anything. As far as I'm aware, they actually didn't even attack. I think they were AFK. But I didn't know that, right? And so I had the changes to the Crucible where you can't see your victory points until the end of the match. The problem with this that I personally find is that you don't have any time to assess what happened between Trial 1 and Trial 2, or even Trial 2 and Trial 3, because there's no time gap. For Alliance War, for example, there is a gap in time where you can see, well, if you want to make changes, you can, because there's a 24-hour period in between. There isn't for Cosmic Crucible. So if you're one of those people, and honestly, you guys know, I suck at Cosmic Crucible anyways, but for those who care a little bit more, it doesn't give you that time in between matches to make those changes because you don't know what works and what doesn't. So you don't get to see that until after. So, I'm assuming that Sentinel is going to attack me on Trial 2, but again, I won't know if anything on my defense is going to work until Trial 3 has already started. So, at the bare minimum, as the way things sit, I see two things that would be an improvement, I guess, over what we have now, in my opinion. And let me know in the comments down below if you think I'm wrong. Either they lock defense for the entire week, which I've been told that this is what happens in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes in their Grand Arena or whatever it's called there. And you can only do it before everything starts, and that way you're locked in for the week. Or that there is a change in the schedule, that you have maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday Crucible, for example, so that it gives you that day in between to make those adjustments if you want to or not. Because we don't get to see what happened in our last match. Well, we can, but it doesn't matter because, we can't make any adjustments to our own teams to kind of compensate for that, just for those of us who care about what works and what doesn't. The other thing, I haven't looked at what I'm going up against yet, but I knew it, so I'm fucked. Right? Just like a lot of you others. So I'm probably fucked here because Tangled Web Eternals. Now, this is frustrating a lot of people in the community. And the number one reason why is because Masters of Evil doesn't work. Masters of Evil is a team that we're building right now. We have events for right now that is labeled as the Apex Crucible team. And up until now, anyways, for the most part, again, let me know in the comments down below if I'm wrong, because I'm not super in tune with Cosmic Crucible, but, I have been told that they don't work on this room. I've seen screenshots of them not really working on Room 5 and recommended not to do it. Now, I think that you can 2-tap this. Please let me know if that's wrong, but I heard that if you blow the cooldowns and you go back in with Masters of Evil that you should be able to do that, I think. But up until now, they've been able to basically up-punch and clear every single defense in Cosmic Crucible. And rightfully so, because they're an Apex Crucible team. They should be able to do what they were designed to do and what we were told they were going to do. And now they don't. But my issue with this is the arbitrary change to this mid-season. Actually, it was like mid-Crucible week, right? It was like between Trial 2 and Trial 3. And so for those of you in the hardcore echelons, or maybe even those of you who aren't, because these are older characters that almost anyone can get, not anyone, but because, there's not farmable, but for the most part are available for a lot of other players. So now this defense team has become a turtle wall for pretty much everyone who can get them. And that's become a very big problem. So much so that I'm seeing a lot of frustration. And honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do here. This is not what this is about, but I was just, out loud, just thinking about what I'm going to be able to do in this scenario. I don't know if I'll have anything to clear this, at least not in the first go. And maybe that's what their intention is, to slow the players down, like they did in War Defense with Heroes for Hire. It's a bit hard to say, but I want to kind of pivot to Reddit for a little bit here and talk about some of the posts that I've seen over the last 24 hours. So there was this one here about 23 hours ago as of recording. Revert the CC changes, you greedy bleep. With 240 upvotes, including my own. Perhaps more now. There was no reason to change it other than pure greed on your end, Scopely. I grinded hard for Masters of Evil. I have 4 out of 5 at G16. So do I, actually, because of the... Not at level 90, but I have a level 85 because of the Moonstone event that's ongoing right now. For the bonus points, check out my video on Moonstone if you haven't already about the math for that event. I chose to invest in this team to specifically take out Tangled Web teams, because that's what we were told. We were actually told that they were, in part, designed to beat Tangled Web defenses, but now they've gone and, included the Eternals text. Again, arbitrarily included, this text. What even is this? On defense, Eternals characters count as Tangled Web characters. It just seems so dumb. And then, of course, it goes even beyond that with callouts to Cersei and Icarus on defense. If Icarus is an ally, Tangled Web characters gain immunity, revive once. Like, it's just bonkers. Like, this is one of the most bullshit rooms out of all 6 of them, because they wanted to make things harder for the players. Now that you've already bought and spent money on the Masters of Evil, they said, well, get fucked. Because we don't care about your investment, or we don't care about the money that you put down, real money in a lot of cases, for these characters. I don't need Masters of Evil for War Dogs or Wakandans or for Unlimited X-Men. Those teams have always been beatable. Now, after the community goes all out on Masters of Evil, Scopely even stated they will be needed for future events to unlock Quicksilver to hype them up even more. And as soon as everyone has spent what they spent or grinded hard all weeks for unlocks, you make them absolutely useless against Tangled Web when paired with Eternals. Your greedy scumbag tactics are ridiculous. The only option is a near mirror match, which leaves you with no Weaver or defense. No Weaver on defense. It's so dumb. If it wasn't for my alliance, I would uninstall this game. And you don't need an exact mirror match. In fact, there was some discussion in my Discord that you do need Tangled Web, but you don't need a mirror match. I believe that if you use some combination of Tangled Web, or at least 2099 Weaver, with Dormammu and Undying, I heard that can work. But regardless, you do need some form of Tangled Web. You need Tangled Web at the very least. And you can't use Masters of Evil, which is the new team that they're wanting to push for on Crucible offense. So that part of it, it's just mind-boggling, because, I'm thankful that I didn't spend money and that I don't spend money on these new characters, but I can sympathize with those who did, who feel like maybe their resources in some, resources and money, was spent in the wrong thing, and that they feel bad about that now, and I guess what that comes down to is don't spend money on the game, I guess, but I can really sympathize with this. And I kind of wanted to look at this top post here. 100% these guys are so scummy and actually pretty inept, since they can't figure out how to monetize their game without alienating their player base. Feels like shit when you can't clear a room after building up the latest team, and they are literally the latest team. Pretty much. I guess the latest now would be Invaders, but I mean, realistically, it's also Masters of Evil. How is this supposed to motivate me to spend on another team they're just going to nerf before we've even had a chance to use or enjoy them? And I just unlocked Moonstone today, so I don't even know what it's like to use Moonstone on the team together, because I haven't. I've always been like 4 Masters of Evil for the last few weeks with someone else. It's even scummier that their supposed solution isn't even available to buy yet. So the whole point of the next few weeks is to build up even more frustration than normal, in the hopes they can squeeze a few more dollars out of us. Now, I don't remember the timeline for Heroes for Hire on War Defense, but I do know that was a frustrating piece of shit as well, that they also said they didn't want to go back to. And I'm not saying that this is what this is, but we do have this Crucible season for the next... I don't know, actually. I'd have to double check. How long do we... I don't even know where it is. Reward. Wherever the rewards are, I thought. The rankings. 44 days. So that's... 6 weeks? 6 more Crucible weeks that we have under these rule sets. And my guess is, honestly, is that they're going to change it in favor of some new Warriors text, because that's on the horizon with Firestar. But again, they're a Crucible offense team. So are they going to be keeping this, or is Firestar... I don't think Firestar alone actually is enough, a standalone with the new Warriors. Because I looked at the text. Again, I'm not super in it with Crucible, but just from looking at it, I don't think that one character is enough with new Warriors to kill this combination of characters, because I have seen what they can do right now, and it's not that great, in my opinion. But hey, what do I know? And so, number 2, 160 upvotes. Suck the fun out of Cosmic Crucible. Go argue with someone else. So there is no fun in theory crafting and figuring out a problem when you know the game is rigged to screw us. Making Masters of Evil useless is all the proof needed, disgusting slimeballs. You keep breaking shit that is working without fixing shit that is broken. I don't have a problem with them making a team really hard to beat if it's released that way. I sort of enjoy the puzzle part of it. However, I do have a problem with them doing this by directly nerfing the team that they just marketed as an Apex Crucible team just a few weeks ago. Hell, they even had the changes in place before Moonstone's actual release event even started. That's the real problem here. If this becomes a trend, then that will be the time, probably be the time that I call it. So that's the problem, I guess, is that this was not marketed as a Crucible defense team at all, and they just arbitrarily chucked these texts on the Eternals to make this team even more of a pain in the ass than it already is. And I think that's a lot of the problem that people have with it. And finally, I just want to touch on this one. Scopely has beaten me. I no longer will try NCC Room 5. I usually try to avoid being too salty here. I enjoy the game free to play until Scopely earns back my goodwill. I really desperately wish they would. I don't want to be frustrated at this game. I think there have been some nifty ideas in the game, and I was an overall fan of the Sagas and Scourges. But like everyone else, I've seen the steady decline in events and release methods. I kind of think this game is either going to be doomed soon, or something major is going to happen to shift things. But the whole Cosmic Crucible situation is a joke. Counts as Tangled Web is both insulting from a balance point of view and also from just the whole concept of tags. And so I find this part interesting. What stops them from just doing something arbitrarily next season or in the middle of a season? I don't know. It could be anything, frankly. Like I'm not gonna. It could be just some random text for another team, and they say the Unlimited X-Men Rogue counts as them, right? Like who knows? Like so, this opens up a can of worms that literally they could do just about anything. And maybe some people like that sort of excitement to that, but I think for those people who like planning and those who, use their resources in a particular way are rightfully, upset or frustrated with this. I was excited for Masters of Evil, been coring for Moonstone whenever I hit enough to open another orb, and then pulling the stunt is insulting. I already hate playing against Tangled Web, and thankfully this Cosmic Crucible round didn't feature the full combo in that room. But if I face it, I'm just done trying for a full clear. Crucible is the one mode that I still genuinely cared about and enjoyed, and they're tanking it. I keep telling myself I'm going down with the ship to ride out the game till the end or it gets better, but Scopely really seems determined to make that harder to do. And a lot of this goes back to the state of the game. Right? We've had some discussions off and on about the state of Marvel Strike Force and how by and large, I thought that Crucible was one area where they couldn't fuck it up too much more. That's where I thought that people were having some enjoyment. I know that people, and maybe I need to do a poll on my channel or on Discord, but I thought that that's where the people had more enjoyment on Crucible than War, for example. And what's left after that is just Arena and raids. And of course, after this, the problem was with Apocalypse, that things were just kind of going downhill in terms of the company, the studio, and how they were able to react to player problems, and what we perceived as well as some of the issues that they were chucking at us that didn't need to happen. And so I don't know, and that's why I'm doing this video, because I want to hear from you guys about how you're feeling about this. Clearly there is people in the community that are not happy with these changes. And I'd love to know what your thoughts. If you engage in Crucible, let me know down below. And if you do engage in Crucible and you're frustrated with these changes as well, please let me know that as well. Because I really need to get a better understanding of like where the community sits on certain issues, and when Scopely and Boundless do stuff that people don't like. And so I'd love to hear more about you in the comments down below. So that's going to be the end of this video. Otherwise, good luck on the rest of the week of Cosmic Crucible. I have no idea necessarily yet what I'm going to do for this. I think as far as Cosmic Crucible videos go, I'm going to be trying to do maybe some sort of recap version of my week, and try to get, you know, a shorter video in than what I was releasing before, because I know that some people don't like to watch me for like 30 minutes plus on Cosmic Crucible. Some do, some don't, but yeah, it doesn't perform all that well. So I'm going to try and, you know, do a better version of that to kind of get a recap to you guys about that and, you know, my thoughts on it. So that's the end of this video. And until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.